Hello and welcome to the Southbound Sports Show. I'm your host, Richie Leahy, here with my co-host, Matty B. And we went from having a very slow off-season to a crazy weekend, whatever you want to call it, leading into the Hall of Fame game. The first, we talked about Ozzy dying, then Hulk Hogan died, and then Ryan Sandberg from the Cubs. So there was a ton of people. Even my dad shaved out a Hulk Hogan mustache, Fu Manchu, in memory of Hulk Hogan. And it makes me think, because I saw a lot of people, I mean, we always talk about TV ratings, but like going back in time, we talk about how the ratings have nosedived for a lot of things. Like I didn't realize that his fight with Andre the Giant had like over 30 million viewers. Because it was like, you know, back in the 80s, you only had one or two channels. I guess you had up to 12, maybe. You kind of have that now if you get a cable over the air, which is what I do. You get the main 4 or 5, if you count the ACC network, a.k.a. the CW, and then a bunch of other random ones picked in. But back then, that was it. Like, everyone would go home, watch like the same thing, go to school or go to work and talk about it. Now I get asked like, oh, did you see XYZ thing? And I'm like, never even heard of it. Like, where are you watching? It's like, oh, I have a subscription for some new like streaming thing. I'm like, all right, I'm out, dude. I'm out. I don't even have like Netflix half the time. I find myself rotating through them. And that's where like WWE now, Hulk Hogan's impact, they have guys that are popular, like The Rock was way more popular than Hulk Hogan, but I would say that that's more because of his acting and his voice work. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, I think they really changed the market when he went through.
Yeah, Hulk Hogan was the guy, and I would think he's the most popular guy. I mean, you had other guys with him, like Macho Man and like The Undertaker after, and Andre the Giant, of course.
And he was on a whole other level because he was really one of the first to make that crossover into Hollywood and get into the entertainment side. And he was in reality TV, and he ended up being in a lot of different roles that it opened doors for other athletes.
Yeah, because him and Andre the Giant was in movies. Wasn't he in Princess Bride?
Yep.
So I would think with those two, they really pushed the boundaries, and there might be some other people I'm missing. But then when Hulk Hogan, like you said, got into reality TV, very similar to Ozzy, which I think opened him up to a bunch of other people that really wouldn't have known them. Because, like, you go mainstream, just over the weekend, I mean, I was camping, and just hearing people bring up both Ozzy and Hulk Hogan, and it's almost like, you don't even watch sports or you don't listen to metal, like, how do you even know these guys? But I think the reality TV show really pushed them over. And then Sandberg was on the Cubs network, was it WGN? What was that one? Where they were always on TV. He's like the Cubs version of what? Chipper Johns? Did they both play third base? I don't even know where Sandberg ended up playing.
He was second base.
Second base. So you have guys that are out there, and now it seems like there's a slew of guys that I think the impact going forward is going to be a lot lower. Like, you have guys like The Rock that took it above and beyond. Then you have like John Cena. He hasn't reached the level that The Rock has, but he's been like the next face of it. And then they try to have some other guys like Roman Reigns or whatever. But for people that don't watch wrestling, because like I don't even watch it, and I don't know the last time I've had anyone ask me like, yo, did you watch that event, like wrestling event? Anytime that I get asked about it, it's like when The Undertaker comes back. But I was a big Undertaker guy growing up, so maybe that's why. People know that's like an easy icebreaker for me. And of course I haven't watched it. It's easy to watch like some of the highlights, but even those, they're like the NBA where they're very protective about it. and try to put some of those highlights on like paid networks and like behind, like you get the clip and it's like the worst highlight clip on Twitter and you have to find like the unofficial one. And then I'm like, what am I doing? Why are people sharing this to me? You know? That's the one thing. NFL's kind of the same way too. Oh, here's like a really crappy highlight. You watch it on ESPN, it like clips. Like they can't even get streaming right on ESPN.com. And then they're always like, oh, you can pay NFL Plus. I'm like, no, I'm good. I didn't need to see the highlight that bad, guys. You could promote your league better if like some of these like highlights were going viral and not being like just shoved into whatever. And you're like, our rights, our TV rights. That's how we make most of our money. But I wonder how many people even watch wrestling because it's hard to get a number. I was trying to find because didn't Netflix buy a lot of that stuff? They're not going to tell you the real numbers. They know their revenue, and that's kind of it. They'll probably pretend because even if they get like a fraction of WWE fans wrestling, same with like some of the sports, like Apple TV buying baseball, that's very regionalized now. And to me, to my knowledge, they didn't get rid of blackouts. So until someone tells me, I'm not invested. Plus the Braves suck this year. So like, I'm not going to just start cheering for another random team, or I'm not dying to watch baseball that bad. With internet and things, there's so many things on that you can watch at any time. That I think the impact of some of these athletes, like even like a Tawny, or like even my guy Barry Bonds, the further we get away from them playing, the less of a chance like people remember them because of how regionalized some of these sports have become. So even musicians too. Like you get like the pop stars of like, pop stars' lifespans are very short, right? Unless you like kind of have a Justin Timberlake guy like Hulk Hogan that gets into like acting and other things. Ozzy, for whatever reason, lived for like forever, and he stayed relevant for like 30, 40 years because of the music and that same transition. I think a lot of these entertainers, like the NBA tries to put it, once they're done playing, I don't think these guys realize like they're done. Like no, like LeBron will probably be one guy that sticks around just because they're trying to push his son so hard. Have you seen that? Where it's like the first thing the one day on ESPN was like Bronny's G League game or whatever it's called, and it's like that can't be the top story. You know? You can give me any other news story, like give me a baseball highlight. A minor league basketball development thing, that's not the top story. I don't care who you are. That's an agenda. Unless he went and scored 100 points or like something crazy, it's not the top story. I don't care. You can't convince me that. But what do you think on the impact of some of these guys?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to show because you have so many people now that are mimicking the way that they acted and the way that they developed their shows and some of that stuff. I think it's just been ingrained in that progress of future athletes and things like that and entertainers, and it's they were some of the trial people of that period. So it makes sense.
Do you still have your stuffed Hulk Hogan doll?
It was Ultimate Warrior dog.
I thought you had both.
We did have both. I think my brother has them now.
So you didn't get to cuddle with him?
I did not.
In memory. I thought they were both yours, dude. That would have been cool because that's what even someone asked me, like, oh, remember those guys? I'm like, oh, I remember them. Like, they lasted. A lot of stuffed animals now or whatever, stuffies, plush, whatever they call them. Like, they don't last a lot of kids wrestling with them these days. You're going to have some fun. Because of good stitching. So, let's see. Anything else you want to talk about with that?
No.
I mean, my NFL stuff is kind of sad. They had that guy, I don't know his name. I don't like to give people attention like that, but he went into he tried to go in the NFL offices, they said, with a letter about CTE. ended up going up the wrong elevator and then shooting a bunch of people, like murdering them. And then they're trying to say, like, I'm just a crazy guy. He's like unstable, like you don't know. But to me, doesn't roll out CTE, right? That's the one thing that's scary with like the Antonio Brown stuff is so many people and even the media are just writing him off like, oh yeah, ever since he got hit in the head, he went crazy. He had CTE. Like this guy, they're saying like, oh, he's been crazy for a while now. But I'm like, yeah, but he's saying he started to go crazy in high school after some football stuff. So you can't really prove it unless they do the study and find out if he had it or not. And I don't think we're going to get an answer.
But, I mean, we've been down this road before where they try to say, oh, it was, how do you identify that it was a specific from football CTE compared to playing basketball and having your legs taken out, or playing wrestling, or just riding your bike and eating it? Like, there's so many different ways you can have that type of head trauma. You were sleeping on the top bunk and fell out and whacked your head. Like, you could end up with some of that CTE damage as a result of a lot of different things. There's no way you can fully isolate it and say it was specifically from this.
Dang, I didn't know Goodell had you on the payroll, bro. I thought it was repeated shots. I mean, yeah, a guy could eat it on a bike like 500 times. But yeah, you really don't know. And that's why I'm wondering what the advances are going to be, because they brought up that, I think, Ozzy had Parkinson's, and then they brought out this research article that said, I don't know if you saw this, you probably didn't. I read too much news. They said that people with Parkinson's have a distinct old person smell. That, like, they might have a smell test now that they can find. Like, I don't know if they're going to have, like, a dog, like a sniffing dog, where they train them to find this old person smell to kind of figure out if you're going to have Parkinson's or not. I think it was Parkinson's. And so, like, with CTE, what's going to be the distinguishing factor? Like, everyone that goes crazy, they give, like, your insurance will just cover a brain scan because they don't want you going and murdering people. I don't know what else they could do, right? The NFL can't do anything, if we're being honest. I went into the data, and I saw that, like, in 2015, they were averaging, like, 200-something concussions. They've cut it down. It was, like, 250, I think. I don't have the exact numbers. I should have left it up. They cut it down to, like, 150 or so. So, like, they've been reducing them. And I think with the Guardian caps, they could really reduce them a lot more. But as this guy brought to the attention, it might not just be the NFL. Like, what if it's high school? High school's not going to have the best equipment. I mean, I know I play with old helmets. Pretty sure I got concussed a few times. Heck, who knows? Like, we could have CTE. I would never know, like, right? I've just always been crazy. So you have to have some type of test, and then with the way insurance is around here, it has to be covered. Like, the NFL is not going to just start covering every football player of all time. They didn't create football, right? Colleges created it. And NCAA is not going to go ahead and be like, we're going to start covering CTE scans for people that are alive. So that's where you have, like, a split. Yeah, this is major news because it involves the NFL and it involves their hot topic, CTE. Right? Now, how they go from there, I don't know. Like, they can't get out from underneath these stories. And luckily, I mean, it didn't get much further than this. And I hope this doesn't spark a bunch of copycat attacks. Because that would just be sad, if we're being honest. But we got some football coming around. Anything else you want to add about that before we move on?
No.
I know we start out on like a sad show. We never really have shows like this. So it's just weird because it's in the national news. NFL season is about to start, and you have just more negative light into football. Football enrollment has already been down across the country. I don't know how they can really bring it back up. And honestly, I just think a lot of sports are down. I keep hearing about more and more high schoolers doing like a co-op for certain sports, or not even providing some outlets in certain sports. And it's like, okay, some of these ones, like, it doesn't even cost a lot to do like a sport like wrestling or something. Since we mentioned Hulk Hogan, what equipment do you really need? A mat? Like the officials, like, you don't have to pay a ton to have a wrestling program. You don't even need as much space as, say, like a soccer field or a football field or even a baseball field, right? If you have a basketball gym, I think like basketball and wrestling would be two of the cheaper sports to really keep up and running. Because it's not like you really think high schoolers or high school stadiums are having their basketball floors redone all the time. Nah, dog. I've seen some pretty bad ones. So, like, once you get that set cost in, that's it. But some of the more expensive ones, I feel like, are getting more popular. Like lacrosse, is it expensive because of the equipment or because of its, like, travel costs because it is so small? Especially down here, I don't know. So, we'll see. When high school gets started, I'll probably see if I can get some of the numbers across the board again to see if we've seen another drop. Because the more people, some more parents I talk to, they're like, oh yeah, I'm hoping my kid gets like a scholarship for video games. And it's like, yeah, that's a thing now. But you got to realize a lot of kids are quitting regular sports to do that too. And the scholarship pool is smaller, right? There's not like there's thousands of esports scholarships out there, like for full rides, right? It's almost like, you know how a basketball team only has like 11 or 13 scholarships or whatever it is. And then esports is going to be like very similar to that. Because they're not really bringing in money to the universities yet. No one's tuning in to watch Penn State esports or in Beaver Stadium redesign, right? If that day comes, then yeah, we'll see a lot more. But I really hope, because the physical aspect too is a big deal. People actually staying in shape and working out. So losing that to sit on computers is going to be a big negative. But for the NFL, I know Steeler camps have been underway. I've seen a lot of negative stuff about Aaron Rodgers. I don't know what people are expecting, right? So I've been negative on him like for months now. My expectations have not changed. I guess we'll see, right? They're not playing. What's the Hall of Fame game? Is it the Chargers and someone?
Yeah, I believe so.
Let's look that up and see what the first one is. Yeah, Chargers and Lions. Harbaugh back in, I guess it wouldn't be in Michigan, it'd be in Ohio, right? Yeah. Canton's in Ohio, bro.
That's what I said. Canton, Ohio, where the Hall of Fame is located.
I know. Do you go to that Hall of Fame?
I have.
I think I have once, too. Would you go back?
I would go back.
I don't know if I would. I'm not a big fan of Hall of Fames. Look at stuff. It's kind of like a museum. People are traveling to like different museums. Just go to the one that's nearby. It's like the same stuff. That's my take on it. You can go to like, I don't think each state would have their own football Hall of Fame though. Maybe university would have like a small one. I've seen some of the small ones where it's just like a little shrine. And depending on how many trophies they've won, maybe like a couple trophies. But we'll see. I'm excited for the game. Obviously, these first couple games aren't going to have a lot of starter participation. But this is only one. So we actually have one game, and then we have that week off, dude, because the next game isn't till the 7th. So it's almost like a little teaser. And I'm not sure how I feel about that. Because the Lions came off a disappointing year. They were supposed to, I know their defense got hurt, but that was supposed to be the year where maybe they could break through. And this year, going into it, I think the pressure has to be on them because their window has to be closing. Right? I would have said most teams in the NFL have like a 3 or 4 year window. Right? If they get lucky enough. Depending on salary cap. We've seen teams get lucky, go on a run, and then they blow it up like the Browns for no reason, where they're like, we're going to get rid of Baker and bring in Deshaun. We're never going to come back, baby. So the Lions are on probably year 3, right? Since like they got Goff and they got things around him, weapons. So now this is the year. The defense has faltered, had injuries. I don't know if they're going to put it all together because the Vikings were a surprise team last year. If J.J. McCarthy steps up and he's legit, that's only going to be harder for them. The Bears, they have Love, right? No, the Packers have Love, and then the Bears have Caleb Williams. Sorry, I don't know why I'm getting confused here. But Caleb Williams, man, I don't know if he's going to be legit. Love, I'm still not sold on because he's made the moves. He looked better at Green Bay. I think they really, really hurt themselves by not getting rid of Aaron Rodgers earlier because I think that last team Aaron Rodgers quarterbacked was the best chance for the Packers in recent years, and Rodgers blew it by not showing up against the Niners in the playoffs because he couldn't move the ball a year. And he's continued to not be able to move the ball. And that brings me back to the Steelers. Anyone watching the Packers that year, when he was like dinged up, they looked way better with Love in there. So then, yeah, the Steelers are trying different things. And then I saw there's so much negativity around Aaron Rodgers. Now I saw someone speculating that maybe if Fields doesn't work out, they might be able to make a move for him mid-season to get Fields back. I'm like, why would they do that? Right?
Fields is injured right now. He got injured in camp.
Who, Fields?
Yeah.
Yeah, but when's he coming back?
He might be done for the year. He might have like ruptured an Achilles or something.
Oh, so maybe the article I saw was before that. I don't know. Because they were talking about how they might be able to make a move because he wasn't even playing well at camp. And I thought,
oh, that's kind of ironic that you get Rodgers and he hasn't the injuries, and you get supposedly Fields was going to be a guy that they were going to depend on, and he got injured.
Well, that would be the thing. I mean, you have you're taking a chance on a quarterback, and you're trying to give him a shot, but like Fields, he's not the only one the Jets were relying on, were they?
I don't think.
Because, I mean, the Steelers really only have Rodgers, right? I mean, they have Mason Rudolph, but that's not going to work. And I'm not sure where else other quarterbacks floating around can have this. So so he did just have one. Their backup is Tyrod Taylor. Okay, so it's not a serious injury because today they said that he is still slated to be the starting quarterback. It's a toe injury. Dislocated toe. But I don't even know what the Steelers writers are talking about. If the Jets have no one at QB, what are they going to do? A trade for Aaron Rodgers and Justin Fields, switch him back midseason? Could you imagine how dumb and weird that would be? Like, hey, we don't like losing with this guy. You want to lose to the guys we had with the guys we had last year? Yeah, sure. Let's just roll it back, baby. Roll it back. So, I'm not sure what else Steelers fans are going to expect other than probably a middling season. And if I'm wrong and he goes out with a bang, like that would be great for his career. I haven't been high on Aaron Rodgers ever, where a lot of writers and stuff are writing him as one of the best quarterbacks of all time. He was up against my man Tom Brady. Of course he wasn't in the same stratosphere. Putting up stats and doing other stuff, but not winning and playing tight when the moment came to it and always losing in the playoffs. That's not how I like my QBs, dude. That's not how I like them. And so the only way he could win back a little bit of respect is by pulling off a miracle and winning a Steelers Super Bowl, which would be insane, right? It's not like Peyton Manning went and won with the Broncos where you kind of get a little bit of respect for him because you're like, hey, he didn't blow it. Like, that used to be your thing, blowing it. I mean, he tried to.
If you are a conspiracy theorist, that's right in your wheelhouse.
What, letting Aaron Rodgers win the Super Bowl to walk
Aaron
out
Rodgers
as champ?
wins the Super Bowl.
Hey, I'll be for it as long as Patrick Mahomes doesn't catch Tom Brady. Because I think they know they have a moneymaker. If you're talking a conspiracy theorist, they have a moneymaker in Mahomes, and they realize with Tom Brady and all that stuff, Deflategate, Signgate, they realized they were just shooting the star dog, right? Kind of like the WNBA is doing with Caitlin Clark. And so then they realized, whoa, we got to lay off Tom Brady. And then the end of his career, the NFL was very positive for him, and it was great for them. He brought in great ratings. Then Mahomes comes in. Tom Brady gets the best of him. He wins a couple Super Bowls, but now Jalen Hurts is like the opposite. He's like kind of like the Eli Manning of Patrick Mahomes to Tom Brady, right? Because everyone assumes he can't really quarterback. Just like they talk down on Eli. They're like, hey, it wasn't that good. His only highlights are like winning the Super Bowl twice. So if Hurts can get a roll going and they can have some heavyweights, I think the NFL would love to lean into that. Because like the Chiefs really aren't a premier franchise. So you're still going to have other teams like the Cowboys and whatever, if they're hanging around or having a chance every once in a while. They can have two random teams like Philly and Kansas City being the heavyweights because they're not like, Philly's not like a small market by any means. So having them be good, even though they're not like as big as New York or whatever, and then randomly have a couple other Super Bowl winners, like that would be ideal for them. Having like DC win it, maybe like a New York team every once in a while, the Cowboys, maybe the Steelers or Packers. So this could be good. Mix the Steelers in right again. It's been a while. It's Aaron Rodgers. Everyone loves him. So you're right. If it's a conspiracy, the writing would be Aaron Rodgers to walk out a champ, and everyone would love him. I just don't see it happening. I mean, I'd find it funny. He comes out a champ. Steelers get the draft next year, right?
Possibly.
It all lines up. Then they can bring the champs out. I mean, remember when the draft was in Detroit and they brought out Michigan like as national champs? Maybe Pitt will win the national championship or Penn State, right? Penn State wins the national championship like people were predicting, and I've been saying they have their best chance in years. Then they have the team come out during the draft in Pittsburgh with the Super Bowl champ Pittsburgh Steelers.
Well, you were really riding high on the conspiracy theories tonight.
It could be one or the other, bro. If I was a betting man, I'd bet on Penn State being there instead of the Steelers, right? How much do you like Aaron Rodgers and consider him a great quarterback?
He's proven himself to be okay. I don't know that you put him in that same elite category as like where Brady, Mahomes, Manning, where those guys are. But
you're even forgetting Joe Montana, dude. I wouldn't even have Manning ahead of Montana. I would say it's Brady, Mahomes, or Montana. Take your pick, dude.
I think Favre was a better quarterback than him.
Oh, in Packers history, yeah, Favre would be the better. Like, just in terms of NFL quarterbacks and Packers quarterbacks, Favre would be number one for me. Don't you agree?
I agree. And I would say just because of how difficult it was, I would put Bart Starr at number 2. I wouldn't even put Rodgers at number 2.
Because how many championships did Starr win? And he has 2 Super Bowls, but he won a bunch before.
2 Super Bowls, but he also won. They also won the, what was it, 63? I think it was 63. Not championship, because it was like, or no, what was it? First Super Bowl 64 or 65. Like it was within that, like they won 2 Super Bowls, and then it was that one before, because Lombardi was really stressing that no teams won it 3 times in a row.
Yeah.
So like after the first Super Bowl, like he was like really, really hard on them during camp and through the season, because he wanted them to be the first team to win the championship 3 consecutive years.
Yeah, because he had won it. He won 5 NFL championships. What year is the Super Bowls? I wish this split them up. Doesn't have the dates. It has 2 Super Bowl champs and 5-time NFL champion, which... All right, yeah, that was separate. So he would have won 7 championships altogether. What's Tom Brady have? 7? Or does Tom have more than that?
I don't think he has more than... Well...
Let me ask Antonio Brown real quick, and I'll get back to you. No, he does have 7. So realistically, you could put him ahead of Favre, for all I know. Right? I know it was a different era. But he has to be... Him and Tom Brady have to be have the most champs, right? Was it Paul Hornung for the Browns? Who had the Browns had a bunch, too. That'd be the only guy off the top of my head, I would say.
Otto Graham had like 10.
Otto Graham. But he doesn't have any Super Bowls, though, so they don't count as much.
They were all just AFL championships.
Which is weird that the NFL kind of just forgets and only goes with Super Bowl. And that's kind of where I've been on the NCAA side of things, where I know a lot of people like the BCS, but I think there's a very clear-cut line where the NCAA could just say, hey, playoff champs going forward from whatever that year that was, 2013, that's our official national championship list. And then you can claim previous, like they could just call the old ones national champs, right? And then call the new one like the playoff championships, or come up with like a cool name for it if they were smart. And then just retroactively split them, right? UCF could claim a national championship. They're probably like the last one before the 16, right? Or whatever we get to, 12 right now, 16. So like no one else is going to really be able to claim one. I really don't see a team going undefeated and being left out. So I think that would be the dividing line where, okay, you can claim national champs, and then here we go. Because like I was realizing that like people are bringing up, because I can always bring up national champs on this show and how they have like fake championships, and then people like send me like, hey, Ohio State has like this one where like they lost and they still claim it, and I'm like, yeah, a lot of teams do that. Because the one thing that I don't think Michigan has is like fake national championships. Like the ones they claim, they're like undefeated or whatever. Like there's no dispute. So claim them all. I mean, even if there is a dispute, Michigan can pick a bunch up, right? So that's how I see a lot of people talking. They did that, Fox did that NFL thing where they're like, oh, the greatest players to wear each number, and they like go through, and I'm like, I don't care. They did it for college too, I saw. And they're like, I know they're just trying to get engagement in the summer, but like you said, you have these quarterbacks, it really comes down to just winning championships, I think. Or MVPs that really don't matter either to me. Do they to you?
It's relevant when you have players that are comparable, and you're just trying to see like stat for stat where they stand. I think there may be a little bit there, but I don't know. I feel like the bigger thing that moves the needle is how many championships we won.
Because even I hear a lot of people talk about like, oh, they have regular season MVPs, and then they don't really count the playoff MVPs, or because I guess they really don't do one for NFL playoff MVPs, do they? It's just a Super Bowl MVP. Where does college do it? Like I thought basketball or whatever, they had like a pure playoff where it's really just the NBA, like MVP or whatever, and then the playoff version. Or maybe they just have a Finals MVP too, and I'm just getting confused. Because I think, like, to me, the regular season doesn't mean anything. You can win 10 MVPs there and have no championships, and your playoff record's like 0-9, like Peyton Manning was at the beginning. It's like, okay. I know he wasn't pure, like, straight 8-9, but, or 0-9. It was like, all right, well, yeah, keep racking him up, buddy. And then get that early vacation going. Right? Because some guys, like, do they even care about winning? Because I think they talk about the salaries now and like the legacy, because I want to get into a little bit of the salary stuff because the NCAA executive order came down from Trump where he's trying to compare the NCAA to the NFL, and he's trying to put in a hard cap, and I know it hasn't been challenged yet, but he really can't do that, and it doesn't even make sense what he's trying to do, bring back non-NIL. And I've heard rumblings from people saying that Nick Saban has hinted that if this executive order sticks and he doesn't have to do NIL, that he might be back into coaching. Which, to me, I mean, obviously Alabama would fire whatever coach they have and bring him back immediately. But the only team that lines up with is Texas, right?
Possibly.
Because if he wins the championship at Texas, to me, he might climb over Urban Meyer on what I would think would be the best coach, right? Sure, Nick Saban had all the championships. He won at 2 different schools, but he didn't win anything at Michigan State. And at Alabama, he had the number 1 recruiting class like every year because of like the SEC system. So like you can't be slated to be number 1 every year and then only win a couple of championships and like never go undefeated either. Right? I know Urban, did he really go undefeated? He did at Utah. But like he won at like what, Bowling Green, Utah, Florida, and then Ohio State. Like look at what Florida happened after him. So
yeah, they've been.
And it wasn't like he followed Spurrier either. Like he was followed what, Zook? So they had the peak, and then they went to a downhill to Zook, and then they brought in Meyer, and he won right away. Yes, Saban got some more wins in the NFL, but I think that's just because Urban Meyer shot himself in the foot being a jerk, right, and lost the locker room kicking their kicker, and like a bunch of other unnecessary things that in college he probably would have got away with. So having a system where the president of the United States can say, hey, we're going to do this, and then like Nick Saban perks up after Nick Saban had just met with Trump too. Kind of suspicious. But I would say that I don't think it's going to hold up because you really can't limit players. Like the cat's already out of the bag. You can't say, hey, oh, wait, we're not going to pay you that much anymore. Like, oh, we're not going to pay you. Like, because you're basically just bringing it back to unpaid workers. Like, there's really no difference of it. And even on top of that, they're like cutting a lot of the university funding. Like, it's going to all fall apart. Like, I think it's going to come back down to where this was so extreme that I think I'm going to get my wish, where even the salary cap implementation that they're trying to do, where it's like, oh, you're going to only be able to spend like $20 million on payroll. Use it wisely in like name of competition. I'm wondering if that gets challenged now too. Because there's going to be a class action lawsuit against a bunch of athletes that are bringing in the money. Think of like the Caitlin Clarks, even in not football. Because the first, he said it was about saving Olympic sports. No, it's about trying to like not pay them. Right? Because there's no way. If you get rid of NIL and you're limiting only, you're putting a salary cap in, football's eating that up. and a little bit of basketball. And if you don't have a football program, guess what? Basketball's eating that up. And then you're back to where, oh, we're going to pay them under the table or help out an uncle's church or pay the mothers like electric bills or hire the dad to be like the team dad or the team mom, hire one of the players' moms, so he goes there. Like, you're going to go back to that shady stuff. And it's going to be the same. Like, you're still going to have NIL, but it's going to go back to being under the table. And then the NCAA is going to investigate. Like, I looked at the current NCAA investigations. 0 SEC schools are on there. Highly suspicious, right? I mean, they haven't been winning championships, so maybe it lines up, dude, right? Not winning. Why would they investigate losers, right? Am I right? But I noticed that 6 Big Ten teams are currently under investigation. Could it be a bias from the smaller schools, like ratting them out for making the most money? Oh my gosh, it could be. So, getting this executive order, and I saw like a lot of panic from fans saying, we're just going to go back to how it was. Like, for the first time, SMU's back, baby. They don't want to go back to being what? People just talking about the death penalty? You get rid of NIL, you're killing, like, Miami will never be back. They're on the verge of finally being back. Texas is on the verge of finally being back, but they're in the SEC, so it might not really matter for them, especially if they have some deal where they get Nick Saban out of it. Because, I mean, they have to hate Sarkisian, right? The choke in the playoff last year, that probably would have easily won them the national championship because, like, Notre Dame wasn't going to put up a fight. I mean, they didn't even stick around with Ohio State. So, like, if they could have got through Ohio State, that could have been it. And then they had to realize how close they were. Fumble for what did Captain Jack return that for a touchdown? I can't remember now. So, like, you have that, and then I don't even know. Like, it's gonna be a whole new system where I was thinking finally NIL's back. They try to do a salary cap. Okay, I understand it. Probably not going to hold up. And then Trump's like, you know what? I'm going to go even crazier. Executive order. Trying to ruin my camping trip, dude. Cutting down Michigan. Saying that people can't just pay athletes. Like, they have to, like, say that it's for a university thing. Which is, like, my thing, too. You could still do advertisements. Like, a lot of these guys are doing, like, what did Blake have? Blake Corum had, like, Celsius water or something. So, like, there's a lot of those kind of weird things floating around. And so, I don't know. Having that executive order, I think, is going to really accelerate things. Because it seems like they're all being challenged in court. Now we're going to get a speed up of the process. With that, since I brought up the investigations, I was checking out the board because Central Michigan finally is on the board of their official Connor Stalions investigation, is what it seems like, because the timeline lines up. Personally, and again, I don't even think this is hope at this point, but just reading inside the NCAA lines, I think this spells things out well for Michigan because they're giving Central Michigan their own set of violations. If you read through some of the documents, it looks like Stalions is in them from people that are reviewing them. So his extra charge for spying wasn't added to the Michigan notice of allegations, right? He was given a separate one for Central Michigan, which might have been why he showed up at that hearing. Because I think the dates had both like an in-person hearing for both Michigan and Central Michigan, which is why I think they're related. So personally, if they're not lumping in that spying on Michigan State as a violation for Michigan, I think that's good news for Michigan. To me, that was the only one that was like pure breaking the rules, right? Because he was pre-scouting an opponent. If they're saying, well, Central Michigan paid him to be there, which is my argument, I don't know what rules Central Michigan broke. unless they confirmed that he was wearing the video Ray-Bans, right?
Yeah.
I've been saying for like a year, I've looked through the rule book. I didn't see anything on hiring another team's coach. I think someone found the precedent where it happened and that guy got a 1-game suspension. Like he went and then worked for another university that they had a game against, and it was like a mistake. I forget which school it was at, and I didn't write it down for the show. Now, obviously, Stalions has been such a hefty figure in the public that if he only gets a 1-game suspension, I think a lot of people I don't think the public cares, to be honest, but I think a lot of Sparty and Ohio State fans are going to be really pissed. It'd be funny. The other thing that I read and that I saw talked about from an NCAA investigator is that people keep bringing up that Michigan has a lack of institutional control. Apparently, that has to have been published on the website as an allegation, and I did not see it there. So, based on like the NCAA protocol that they follow, they're not going to come back in like 2 weeks and say, "Gotcha, lack of institutional control. Here's like a crazy penalty." Right? They had to have given Michigan that as part of their original notice that we got white in January. And to my knowledge, those have already leaked. I went back through. It was like charges against Stalions, charges against Harbaugh, whatever. I almost wonder if they kept the Connor Stalions CMU one under wraps because, number one, CMU probably doesn't want that publicity. And number two, didn't they already fire those guys? Like around the same time the Michigan one was going on? I think they fired 2 guys that were connected to Stalions. So I'm thinking that they had already known that it was connected to Stalions. They fired their guy. Whatever they negotiated with the NCAA, I bet these get announced around the same time. Because why would the NCAA want more negative publicity? If they don't hammer Michigan, the amount of crying some fans are going to be doing is going to be through the roof. I think Ohio State fans published like a 300-page PDF, Matt, summarizing their feelings on it already. If you want to look up some, I saw it floating around. I didn't click on it. But if you need some light rating, dude.
Yeah, put me down for no thanks.
I said the same thing. Like I was joking on what some of the fans were like saying would be an appropriate punishment about like canceling the program and having like Sharon Moore get fired. And it's like the one thing I read.
Yeah, cancel the program, fire Sharon Moore, and then bring it back with Urban Meyer as the head coach.
Wouldn't that be funny? Not that I want the program to like go down, but like if Michigan was like, you know what, screw you guys, we're hiring Urban. That would be, or Nick Saban, dude. Could you imagine? And NIL thing. What if I'm wrong and it gets killed? And then Nick Saban's like, I'm here, baby. I know we can win here. You guys beat us. And then that would be another bizarro like twist of fate. But I really don't think they said that the Sharon Moore one. I think at Media Days, I saw a question. I was trying to watch it. The service wasn't really good where I was camping. Surprisingly, they even had the Big Ten Network or whatever on their channels. Probably because Penn State, because I was in PA. They had the one thing where he was talking about where he's supposed to be suspended. And I tried to look on ESPN, and they had it written down that he is suspended as a statement of fact. Apparently, from the Big Ten media notes, he's not suspended yet. That was part of Michigan's plea to the NCAA where, hey, if you accept this, we'll call it a day, like it'll be over. And there's a chance that they might not, based on what the NCAA investigator said, they might not find that he needs another suspension. Like they might just say time served and that's it. And he's coaching the entire year this year. Which, one fan base is saying that he should be fired. If he comes back with time served, and Connor Stalions probably going to get, what, what's that thing that they get? I can't remember what it's called now. Like the statement of whatever where he can't coach. It's not a non-compete, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
He's probably going to get that, like what Chip Kelly and Harbaugh got. Harbaugh didn't show up to defend himself. It looks like the university tried to cut the deal with Sharon Moore in lieu of Harbaugh. Harbaugh's going to get that where he can't coach at the NCAA level for like 4 years or whatever, and just because he didn't cooperate, which I think is what the most egregious charge was. So I hate bringing this up now. It feels like I'm bringing it up every week because it's been heating up. For all I know, before I even publish this show, it could be out and the punishment could be out and I could be totally wrong and I'll be recording like a follow-up segment. But I'm hoping that happens, to be honest. I really don't think that they're going to wait because a lot of people are saying like, oh, they should get a bowl ban. Because in the bylaws, it seems like there's no way they're going to vacate the wins. And even if they do, it would just be with Stallions. So the championship should be safe, which I think would annoy a lot of fans even more. But there was no charge that should be vacated wins. So the next most powerful thing would be a bowl ban. I would really be surprised, just logistics-wise, if they wait till the end of summer and right when the season's starting to say, hey, bowl ban. Like, I think that would just piss the Big Ten off, right? Oh, let's take one of your premier earners out of the bowl season. Pick them right before the season. So, just realistically, the way it works, like, I just don't think that's going to happen. Especially because the Big Ten went to bat for Michigan and was there on their behalf. I think that's why I would be very surprised if there's a bowl ban. Very surprised if there's any vacated wins. Now I'm feeling even more positive that maybe Sharon Moore is not even suspended again because he had already been suspended for one game, right? Which matches up for whatever that other coach thing was. 1 game suspension. Now he did delete the text or whatever, so maybe they give him 1 or 2 more. But realistically, I couldn't really find a lot of coaches deleting texts that were recovered. Like Urban Meyer, he was suspended for deleting text, but then they ultimately fired him, right?
Yeah.
Did they end up firing him? I can't remember what the timeline was. It was right around media days, right, that it leaked. They suspended him for like 3 games or whatever. I think they fired him before the season even started, though. So I don't think he served a suspension. So this is unprecedented stuff where, I mean, this would kind of be the baseline going forward where if you delete text, that's why I'm wondering if they're going to give him a 3-game suspension, which would be the 2 plus the 1 from last time, where they say, look, deleting text is bad. Now we have it on the books that if you delete text, you get 3 games. I think his other game suspension might have been the recruiting thing, though, the COVID rule breaking. So too many moving parts. Just get it over with. Get it over with. The Michigan one was getting long on their timeline of things that they are using on their website to kind of prove that they are wrapping things up quick. All right, show us, baby. It's been a month and a half, right? We know that they either have the penalty or they don't.
And I think that's where I get frustrated. Like it's a 2-part thing. Like on one hand, I want there to be a consistent enforcement of what the rules are, and if you don't have anything, then you just say, you know what, going forward, this is how we're going to handle this. Like, because I feel like what ends up happening in a lot of these cases is that they want to try to make a stand, but it's so inconsistent in the enforcement of it that they end up looking just like crybabies about it.
Well, it reminds me of like, okay, you got Underwood, right? If they wait and give a bowl ban for a year, right? Like, didn't Urban Meyer have to deal with that his first year at Ohio State? He went undefeated, and then he had the bowl ban. The bowl ban's a little bit different because the playoff is a separate entity. So in theory, the playoff isn't really a bowl game, I don't think, in terms of like the NCAA. But maybe I'm wrong. I don't know how it works. So like, could a bowl ban, like if they make the playoffs, would that count as not going to a bowl? Or like, if they get a bye, could they say they skipped that first bowl? I honestly don't know what the situation is. And that's where like, Maybe they just take it and eat it while Underwood's a freshman, right?
Or is their thought that they're going to you're going to have teams try to negatively recruit him and say, well, you're only going to be able to play college ball for X amount of time. Do you want to just spend it on a team that can't compete and then try to negatively recruit him to change his commitment?
Well, I think it's too late now. Like, this is going to come out in August, unless it comes out this week. And so, like, I'm saying, like, right before the season starts, they get a bowl ban for, like, a year. That would be this year. They're not going to flip him to another team right before the season starts. That would be insane. And then he's a freshman. So he's probably not going to do that good, right? So if I'm Michigan, I wouldn't even fight that. Take it this year when he's a freshman, and then next year, clean slate with one of the top quarterbacks, hopefully, in the history of the league, ready to go for his sophomore season, and everyone at Michigan's like pissed off, and they're ready to rock. Now, I've seen people like begging for like a 2 or 3 year both season ban. I just don't see it though, based on the allegations, because most of them are just the head coaching. Like, they're allegations against the coaches, but the coaches already. I mean, those other ones, it's the show cause penalty is the term I forgot earlier. Michigan already had like 2 or 3 guys that went to the NFL. They accepted their show cause. It's been like a year. So they're not going to give all the coaches 1 year show cause and then say, oh, you know what? We're also going to give you a 2-year bowl ban. It just doesn't line up with the other punishments. So it seems like at most it would be 1 year. And
if they're going to hand up those punishments, they can't just keep changing it and throwing new punishments out.
I know, that's what I'm saying. Like, based on what came out and the paper that came out in January, which was the punishments, I don't think they're going to add any new punishments. Like, I would be surprised if there was a bowl ban. I would be surprised if they took games away, because based on that document, it's like minor recruiting things. If anything, it would be a monetary thing. Like, okay, Michigan gets fined $1 million for the scouting, right? That's the precedent in the past. It's all been monetary, and maybe a game. That one was like a half suspension for 1 half. Like, how insane would that be if Connor Stalions got suspended for a half? He already remember, he was suspended for the Michigan State game, and then they let him go. So he could get time served for half a year. When was that Michigan State game? In October? He missed the playoff run. I mean, I still don't know if any, like, they could come out and say, like, you know what? We found out he did nothing wrong. He was on the Central Michigan sideline. I mean, best case for him, he wasn't filming. And they have proof that he wasn't filming, right? Because he brought the glasses in or whatever. And then they just find out that he was just another guy hired by our school. Michigan in the NCAA meeting said that they didn't know. It's already been cleared that they didn't know that he was there. So the Central Michigan one was separate because of that, which is why I think this was a big deal that it's finally listed. Because up to this point, it hasn't been listed. So for all we know, it wasn't even him until now. Now I think it proves it was him. Comes down to, did he take video? If he didn't take video, I mean, it might just be a warning to them. I mean, there are other coaches got fired. They might just get time served, whatever. I don't know what Central Michigan's penalty would be. Don't hire other coaches? Like, I'm sure it's just going to be a fine. I mean, Michigan State will be upset. They're the only school. Well, Steins didn't coach against him that year anyway. Michigan beat him 49-0. So I don't know what else they could say. Like, I just hope that we get this wrapped up so we don't have to talk about him anymore. I'm trying to look and see what else. The other thing that I had on here, speaking of money stuff, Georgia, Buford, finally got their football field opened. That $62 million stadium only has 10,000 seats with 15 luxury suites and then a 3,500 square foot video board and the 2-story field house with locker rooms. So I saw the guy, his name is on the stadium, whatever the donor was. Was it Philip Beard? Philip Beard Stadium. Could you imagine having so much money? You're like, I never left my hometown. My best days were in high school. I'm going to get us a great high school stadium. Right? And then only seat 10,000, right? Because that was my biggest complaint with it. Because if you want to have other events there, like concerts and stuff, 10,000 isn't a lot of people. I would have hoped that at least if they were throwing that much money around, they would have at least got 20,000, right? I think that's what attracts a lot of like major kind of pop concerts, I would think. Right? Think of all the ones that are in like the basketball stadiums they share with. You could get a couple of like other uses out of it. But by having it so small, I don't know if they can use it as a mixed use facility. It almost seems like a waste of money. Right?
But, you know, I think that football program probably is funding the rest of the activities at that school.
Oh yeah, I'm sure they're funding it. Because people were posting like the teacher salaries and stuff and how they're making like, oh, they started like 50,000 and go up. Like, I mean, some states start way lower than that. And people are mad because of football stadium, but this is one guy, it seems like, donating the money. So the ticket and stuff that they're going to get from the games, like, that's why I would have, I mean, I know they don't want it to appear empty. And so they decrease the stadium size. But I would have at least thought out a way to have, I don't know, maybe like some type of like grass seating or something in one of the end zones. Like I know NC State used to have that way back, where if you had concerts, people could sit on the sides of the stage and then have like a grass seating. Like I think, I'm sure, did the Curve have that at one point? I don't even remember now. Yeah. So like some teams have like the grass seating so that you can use it as a mixed use event. Like you can't bring in a big time like country music store and have, I mean, I don't know how big that city is or whatever. But I think if you had a major stadium like that had some amenities and had like a Jimmy Buffett concert, you know, bro, like let's get out and have like a bunch of extra seating and like kind of make it nice is what I would have wanted them to do. Because you could shoot it one way, but I'm assuming that would only be 5,000. That's even less if you just close off the other bleachers and had a concert or an event facing the one side. Because that's what, if you go to a marching band concert, that's how they do it. Right? Maybe they could have state championships there for stuff. Like lacrosse or whatever. I don't know. But I don't care. Like, I'm more mad whenever these rich NFL owners get tax money for their stadiums. Right?
Yes.
Or make me pay like $1 bazillion for parking whenever we already pay tons of taxes for that kind of stuff. Right? Who gets that money? That's what I want to know. Like, keep my car safe. You go to an event, people are like, hey, make sure you lock it up. You're paying $60 here, but no one's watching these lots. It's like, okay, something has to give here, buddy. Or like do more shuttles from like the local Walmart or something. I don't know. Like, why are people paying crazy amounts of money for parking? That's my number one pet peeve of going to a game. Because then you get crazy people you could go to games with, and they're telling you we got to leave early to beat traffic. And I hate doing that. That's like, I hate doing that, the expensive thing. But I don't know. I think that's the only other thing I had today, right? I'm looking through my notes. Anything else you wanted to talk about?
The only other thing, I just saw Jameis Winston had some sound bites from Giants camp. It just made me think it would have been nice for them to sign him, and we could have had that for Steelers sound bites as opposed to Rodgers that just seems bitter over like all the shots that the more famous celebrities have taken at him because of his stance on his political views.
Oh, I agree, and that's why I was kind of bummed out because I had forgotten. I meant to bring him up earlier. But like if Fields is like the only quarterback in New York with the Jets, having Jameis wasted behind Russell Wilson is going to be a sad year for me. Because I think the NFL needs characters like that. Don't you?
Yeah.
I mean, like, how many guys, like, even back...
They've given him so much grief over the years, but I feel like he's also provided so many sound bites. He's not gotten into any trouble off the field. Like, all of the stuff that plagued him in college, that they tried to pin on him as being a bad person, like, it's clearly not that way. Like, he's going out of his way to, like, try to be more involved with his teammates and do different stuff. I just, from what I've seen, like, was he perfect? No, but I feel like he shows, like, that human side that you could build a locker room culture around.
And that's where I think having that type of quarterback in the league and having success is good. You need to have guys like that aren't really the top dog, and maybe he could win. I just feel like he never got a fair shake. I thought the same thing with Nick Foles after the Eagles Super Bowl. Like, they decided to go with Wentz, and it seemed like they're talking up Wentz all the time. Nick Foles never got anything, and then he kind of bounced around because it didn't seem like they were trying to fit the system to him. And I thought, dude, the guy just won a Super Bowl. Maybe he's not that good, but come on, give him a fair chance.
I almost thought, and I feel like Foles kind of fell into a similar situation that Kirk Cousins is in now, where it's like he doesn't have that traditional whatever type aesthetic that the NFL is looking for, but he still just is hanging around and making a career.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, unfortunately for Cousins, he didn't have the year where people didn't get hurt and they won the Super Bowl, right? He never had that chance. Where Foles got it done, and then it kind of seemed like, thanks for doing that, but you're not good enough, right? Imagine doing that at your work. Like, you do something like great at work that's like never been done, because like basically that's what an Eagles Super Bowl was, right? Hasn't been done like forever, and so then they still hate you. They're like, man, we liked winning, but we really wanted to be the other guy. I'm sorry.
We can make more money selling the other guy's jersey.
Yeah, he's way cooler than you. So because that's where the conspiracy things come in. It's like no one had on their conspiracy board that Nick Foles would be a Super Bowl champ, right? Same with
That's
Trent
fair.
Dilfer, right? I mean, you can have some of these guys where they just have the seasons that are lucky, and there are other quarterbacks where it's like, if there were conspiracies, Dan Marino probably would have got a Super Bowl, right? They still use him in NFL commercials. He would just be a little bit more popular if he actually got a Super Bowl ring. And it never happened. And so that's what I'll end the show on. I think you got to have a little bit of that personality. And I like Jameis, dude. I like guys that are trash talkers. And I wish that he had I feel like he hasn't got a fair chance. Even with the Saints, I think that was the thing you sent me where he was saying about the Saints would like put in Taysom Hill to like take his numbers away.
Yeah, because he was saying it's always some guy from Utah that comes in and
yeah, and that's not really even a joke, dude. That could have really been what they were doing. Try to keep his salary down or whatever, never giving him a fair chance. It just seems like, and then in the comments, people are just dogging him. Like they have a personal vendetta against him. I mean, really, can there be that many Gator fans mad at that guy? I don't know. So, all right. Well, thanks for listening. If any major news does happen and I have to do a breaking Michigan show, I will. I hope we don't have to do it because I hope it's a nothing burger. And we'll get some real football this week. So, thanks for listening. If there's anything else you want us to talk about, let us know. And we'll see you next week.